All right, we are live. If you're looking in on this, you may be watching on Facebook or LinkedIn or on YouTube. Can't stress enough to join us over on YouTube, podcastpd.com/live. And we're going to be recording episode number 144 of Podcast PD. So this will be our episode for October?
Octubre.
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 All right. If you're in the chat, wherever you're watching, let us know where you are and enjoy the conversation as we stumble our way down the Reddit rabbit hole. I love doing episodes like this. How about you?
You do. I know. You're very excited about this one.
No. Are you excited?
With the topics you found, yes. Was I excited at first? No, I was a little nervous, but now I'm ready to go.
No. And we can't even do all the topics.
No, we can't. Not right now.
All right. Here we go. Let's start the show. Coming up on episode 144 of Podcast PD, we are settling into the school year and we are falling down the Reddit rabbit hole. Let's start the show. This is Podcast PD, the show that provides you with anytime, anywhere professional development. Our conversations and guests will provide you with the learning you might get in a faculty meeting or on a PD day. Except you're going to have more fun with AJ Bianco and me, Chris Nessie. Let's start the show. What's going on there, podcasty people? Podcast PD people.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
My name is Chris Nessie, at Mr. Nessie on Twitter, also host of the House of EdTech podcast, and I am here alongside my podcast paisano, AJ Bianco. What's going on, Principal Bianco?
Oh, still sounds weird when people say that, but I appreciate it. How you doing, Christopher?
I'm doing good. Do people call you Principal Bianco?
I mean,
at
it's
school?
it's like friends, not like at. I mean, the kids do. It's cute, Little people say that to me, so it's cute.
Yeah, you're fresh off your first week.
That's it. One full week in the books. Definitely a different feeling, but it's a good feeling. Got a lot of catching up to do.
We got an anonymous question that came in. Now that you're a
Anonymous?
principal, anonymous question.
Mm-hmm.
Synonymous. Synonym.
No. Got it.
Did you, in the first week as principal, have to do any cafeteria lunch serving like you did when you were in AP?
I did not do any serving this time. I was in the cafeteria, but the serving was taken care of. There's not as many kids, so I don't have to worry about the serving of the food.
Excellent.
But I was in there. They actually offered me food, and I politely declined. It looked good.
Way to get in good with the lunch ladies.
I explained. I was like, look, I don't eat during the day. Nothing against you guys. And they were making like street corn. They were making like fried chicken. It was some good lunch over there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you don't even bring lunch normally?
No. Nope. I don't eat during the day. I basically fast throughout the day.
Really? Big breakfast?
No breakfast.
No breakfast. No lunch.
Nope. 2 coffees.
That's going to lead to a long life.
Doing great, man. Come on.
Doing great. Well, I
doing great, and I feel wonderful.
Wonderful.
I do. I feel great. I feel great.
That's good. That's good.
Thank you.
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking.
I was about to, but you didn't give me a chance. You just kept talking about me. And I said, I believe you go back in the recording. I said, "How are you, Christopher?" And then you asked me about lunch. So
I wanted to ask you questions.
All right, go ahead. Tell me how things are going in your world since we spoke, because you are doing the classroom thing and dominating it. I know there's some good things going on in your way. So why don't you tell everybody what's going up?
Let's see. The podcast club is getting off the ground as we look to replace some really good talent from the last couple of years. I've got a couple of students who are coming out. They're freshmen, so they're doing the morning show thing, and we're trying to get that stuff off the ground. So far in my classroom, things are going well. I have, 3 in-class support teachers I'm working with.
Mm.
And, they are 3 people who I have worked with that I'm friendly with. So we have a good rapport in the classroom, and I'm getting to know the kids. We're a couple weeks in, had them do their first project related to culture. And if you're new to Podcast PD, by day I teach ninth grade world history. So that is where I start the year. And now we're going to get into a theme that my district calls the clash of ideas. So
Okay.
I'm putting the
Interesting.
finishing touches on a new project. Not ready
Hmm.
to pull the sheets off of it yet, but it'll be ready
Okay.
by Tuesday.
Um, two questions.
Yeah.
Because this always seems to be the thing. First question: will there be a student teacher this year?
You know what? I was starting the year without one,
Oh
and
no!
now I'm getting one.
There you go. It's not.
Because
It's not a year unless Chris got a student teacher.
this is a special one though.
Ooh.
This is a unique situation.
Let's go.
So I'm in New Brunswick, and I'm going to have a phase one teacher from the Rutgers GSE, the Graduate School of Education. So phase one is come once a week and observe for the
Okay.
fall semester. Then their phase two is to show up to the school twice a week, and maybe you plan some lessons, you do a little teaching, you get a little more integrated. And then phase three is the full day, 5 day a week, full student teaching experience,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be next fall. Okay. So if I can get a person for phase one, it'll pretty much go, they'll be with me for phase two, barring any issues, and then again next fall. So I'm set for the next year and a half. Here's why it's special. The young lady who is going to be with me, and we're going to call her Haley, the student teacher, she is a former student of mine at
Oh no!
Rutgers. At Rutgers.
Yes.
So this is somebody who I taught in the School of Communication,
Mm-hmm.
and she reached out to me this past February, Marchish, and she was like, Mr. Nessie, I think I want to be a teacher, and I don't want to do anything with communications or PR, marketing, the whole thing. And I
Mm-hmm.
think I want to be a history teacher. I
Mm.
said, all right. So we chatted, and I gave her some guidance and said, well, you went to Rutgers, reach out to them first, have them look at your transcript, the whole thing. And I said, anything you need, since you're basically going to do what I do as a history teacher, I said, I'll be happy to help you. And if you get into the GSE, maybe you can come to New Brunswick, and maybe I can be your mentor officially.
Mm.
And within the last couple of weeks, that has come to fruition. So as we're recording this, she should be coming to my classroom as Haley, the student teacher, this coming Friday, the beginning of October.
That's awesome. Well, that's really
Yeah.
cool. That's great, man. That's a nice story because I'm sure there's a lot of connection there, and I'm sure there's a backstory of why she wanted to make her change in her major. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, and it's not because I ever said, "Oh, I'm not trying to convert communication majors to teachers." That's not
I
my goal.
wouldn't. Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that.
Some might say I'm doing them a disservice with the loss of income. No, but no, it's really special because she's a really nice girl,
Yeah,
and I think her heart is in the right place. And if I can play a small role in getting her into this profession, I am more than happy to do that.
of course, of course. That's really cool.
Yeah,
Good luck to her. That's wonderful.
yeah. I'm sure we'll try to have her on at some point between now and December 2025.
Okay, sounds good. Book it. Second
Book it.
question.
Yes.
Second question, because I know this is how we always operated every summer going into the school year, and I know we're not there anymore. But what is the newest thing you're trying out in your classroom?
With regards to what? Just something new I'm doing in my class?
Yeah, like a couple years ago, I mean, it was many years ago at this point, right? You started doing the theme-based approach to social studies. You started doing, more project-based learning and student-centered approach to teaching. So, like, is there anything that you're stepping up now that you haven't done in the past that you're like, let's roll with this?
I would say I think I've improved. I don't know that it's anything new, but from making this how I want the class to operate, it's not something I stress out about. And I can, you know, get the kids to buy into the 4 C's, for example, which is what I want the class to focus on, right? The history will be there. And, this first experience with these kids for culture and the first project, which is really just me testing them to see how do they manage their time? Can they work independently? And can they produce a product and, can they use technology and, keep themselves on track. And for the first time, probably that I've been there, I came in on the last day of class that the kids were supposed to work on this. And in one of my classes, I got them started, said, all right, just get started. Today's the last day. Got to the end of the block to work on this. And I had 3 kids in the class go, I'm done, Mr. Nessie. I turned it in already. I said, what? They're like, yeah. I was like, and you did it the way I wanted you to, because we were doing it on Canva, and I had some special thing I wanted them to do to turn it in and submit it on Google Classroom. And 3 kids did it.
That's
And
great.
I was like, I was beside myself.
That's great.
I said, they're like, so what do we do? I said, do you have something to work on for another class? Because that's all you were going to do today is work on the project. So they were like, yeah, I got some math to do, or I'm working on something for science, and they worked independently. It was fantastic.
That's great. And are you bringing AI into the classroom? Is that one of your
AI
go-tos,
is very
or no?
much a part of my workflow now.
Mm.
Okay, so I am leveraging it.
Mm-hmm.
And I do want to integrate it in some ways this year. I had a kid on the current project. We were doing, I had him do digital trading cards on Canva,
Cool.
similar like a baseball card or a Pokemon
Yeah.
card with the 7 elements of culture.
Okay.
And, I had them in their notebooks answer some questions that I had AI generate about the 7 elements. And the prompt was, give me 5 questions per element of culture that will get students to reflect how the element is present in their life. So this kid is, jotting notes in his notebook about himself. And he's like, Mr. Nessie, couldn't I just have AI answer these questions? I said, not really, because the questions are about you. I said, in theory, you could take what you've written about yourself and feed it to AI, and AI could coach you in your writing to clean it up
Yep.
and,
Yep.
kind of make it make sense. He didn't do that,
Okay.
but I said it out loud, and other kids heard me talk about AI. So it will happen in my classroom. And, Magic School will probably be the route that I go, because I can give them access to AI technology that is moderated.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
Okay.
But that's not
That's
something
great.
I'm doing out of the gate. I need to
No.
build
Yeah.
up
That's
their skills and,
Yeah.
see where it goes from there.
Okay. Cool. I'm looking forward to hearing about that, because that's definitely something that I'm curious about and see where it goes in education. Like you said, I'm using it for my workflow too. Like, there are definitely things that, like, trying to make my job a little simpler.
Yeah.
Help me out a little bit in ways that I, can have that assistant.
Yeah. I
Summaries.
remember when we had Adam on, and he was talking about how he uses it
Right.
for
Absolutely.
some of his district level
Yep.
administrative stuff.
Yep. Absolutely.
I'll try to remember to
Yes,
put a
sir.
link to that in the show notes for this episode. That was a good conversation with Schoenbar.
Yeah. Well, Adam Schoenbart is a stud when it comes to anything like this.
Yes. All right. Do we want to dive into the rabbit hole?
Yeah. Let's dive into some of those questions.
All right. So tonight's main questions are coming to us from Reddit. So AJ and I went digging, and this is what we came up with. So here is the first one. Quote, I can't afford all these special dress-up days. Tropical Day, Kindness T-shirt Day, Color Day, Jean Jacket Day, 80s Day. The list won't stop. I'm a para making bleep for money. I can't afford all of this. But if I don't, then I'm not a team player. I can't win. And that's the end of that.
Yep.
So here we are, participating in your school community, and it's costing you money out of your pocket.
Yep.
You want to go first?
No, you go first. Let me hear from you, and then I'm curious. I'm just curious.
So, I mean, here's me speaking as a classroom teacher. So obviously making, more money than a paraprofessional. But, even if you're a first year teacher and you've got, loan payments and things like that, if you want to participate in some things in your school, there's a lot of things where they're trying to get in your pocket, right? Maybe you work in a school where, you got to pay to wear jeans, or you got to pay into a sunshine club. And, there's all different hands grabbing from your paycheck. I'm at the top of the guide where I'm at, and there's things that I won't spend money on. So because I understand where this person is coming from.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't think anybody should feel guilty or obligated to do some of these things. And if the honest truth is you can't afford it, then maybe just be honest about it. And I don't think there's any shame in being honest or participating in something at your school to a level you feel comfortable with and can afford.
I think it's strange to have theme days and then having to pay for those theme days. That's not something I'm used to. Um, you
Well, I
know,
interpret it as, you know, I remember years ago, and I think in my school we had like spirit days for faculty on Mondays,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and I'm not running out to buy a Hawaiian shirt.
Right.
I don't have one. If I had one, I'd wear it, but I'm not
Yeah.
going out to buy a Tommy Bahama or anything like that. You know.
There, there, there were two experiences I had with having to give money for a jeans day. First was, you'll have a jeans day and there's a suggested donation of $5 and the money is going to go to, this foundation for the week. And if you want to be part of it, you part of it, whatever. Another one was you pay $50 up front for the year and you get your jeans days throughout, and the money is spread out, throughout a bunch of different charities throughout the entire school year, which I'm okay with that one because then you don't have to do it. I mean, look, I told my staff the other day, I was like, every Friday is a jeans day. I like, what's the difference? Especially for a middle school, for an elementary school, even I don't see a difference. For you to be comfortable, for you to actually like be there and feel good about it. Yeah, I think it's simple to just put on a pair of jeans. End your Friday right, casual, like dress appropriately. I mean, for this person, I get it. Like if you had to do $5 every other week or $10 or $20 or donating the money for something and then buying the dress up that goes along with it, that's going to be a lot for anybody, no matter what kind of situation you're in, but like, if you go through those comments, a lot of people are just very simple. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Which is a tough call as well, because you want to be part of your school community and you don't want to be singled out, because then the kids are going to look at you and say, why aren't you doing our dress up day? How come you're not dressed as a cowboy or your favorite movie star or something? Like, that's tough. That's tough.
Or when at the high school level, we'll have spirit weeks and like the entire guidance department will go in on the days and, they'll all kind of do their little costume thing, but I can see where it could be tough. Let me ask you this.
Uh-huh.
Do you think it's okay? And I'm in your boat where, in my school, Friday is jeans day and it's usually a fundraiser for different clubs. So every Friday, book through the year, a different club has it.
Okay.
You can wear jeans, suggested donation of, $3, no holes, the whole thing. Are you okay with somebody walking in and not donating but wearing jeans? Have you ever done that? Would you feel comfortable walking past the people collecting the money and saying, I'm not donating, but like, I'm wearing jeans?
Have I ever done that? I don't know if I've ever done that. I'd feel very weird doing that. I don't think I've done that.
Full transparency, I have.
Yeah.
But I get to school for the morning show well before the majority of people get to my building. So I'm there well before the person who's going to set up at the table to collect the money even gets to school. So I'm already in the building like, cool. So I've done that.
Okay. So you just snuck up right to your room?
No, I'd go do the show and then, 2,100 kids in the hallway. Nobody sees you or thinks you didn't pay, but I've done that. And there was one time where I was out in public doing the show on my mobile studio, had jeans on a Friday, and the person from the club who was collecting said, "Oh, Mr. Nessie, I see you wearing jeans. I didn't see you at the table. Do you have a donation?" And I looked this person dead in the eye. I said, "No, I'm not donating."
Wow.
So I did that once.
Okay. Yeah, that's tough, dude. That's tough.
And I'll be honest, I don't feel bad because it's like people might be thinking, "Oh, well, how would I feel if when I'm doing that for the podcast club, if people walk past me?" I'm never doing a fundraiser for the podcast club. So
Yeah.
I'm never doing a jeans day to raise money because I don't need to raise money for anything.
Wow.
That's just me.
That's tough. I mean,
I also believe that you should just be able to wear jeans. So, Mr.
that
Principal, can people just wear jeans at your school or can they not?
every Friday.
No, I'm talking about the other 4 days of the week.
I'd rather not.
Is that a district thing or is that a Mr. Bianco thing?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I have to look into that. I don't think it changes anything in the school, to be honest with you. You can just wear jeans if you want to.
All right, you
But
could
like,
be MVP, most valuable principal.
yeah, sure.
You,
I don't know.
You change that.
I got to check district dress code for the staff. I don't want to say things that like you can't do. So I don't know yet. So I'm still learning. But hey, Friday every day, every Friday's jeans day.
Well, maybe you could be an advocate for those antiquated sexist dress code policies
There you go.
for staff.
Yeah. Well,
Because come June, I know you've been there where you're like, man, if I could wear a khaki skirt, whew, be a lot cooler at school.
I don't think I'll be wearing a khaki skirt. Gotta be honest with you.
I had a guy who just retired. He used to wear a kilt.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You can pull that one off.
I don't know if he's
You should follow in his footsteps now. You should do it. Somebody's got to do it.
I'm not Scottish. He was Scottish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or, you know what? I don't know if he was. He just might have been.
I was just gonna say.
I don't know.
Somewhere in your bloodline, you never know. There might be a little Scottish in you.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Everybody's a little bit Scottish.
I thought everybody was a little bit Italian.
All right. Ready for topic number 2?
Topic number 2. Let's do
All right.
it.
The headline of this is Drowning First-Year Teacher.
Yeah.
Here we go. I'm a first-year teacher. My team sucks. They are absolutely awful. I'm completely on my own planning lessons and creating daily slideshows. School started in July, and I've worked 80 plus hours every week since. I keep hoping it will get better, and it's just not. I gave an open book assessment to over half my students, and they failed. We reviewed key concepts and vocabulary right before they started. All the questions and answers came directly from the unit we finished, which was about 5 pages worth of material. My husband is mad at me because I work all the time. I've barely spent time with my own kids. I knew this year was going to be rough, but I expected to be surrounded by teammates that made it somewhat easier, and I'm not. How do I get through the next 9 months of school? At this rate, there is no way I'm coming back for year 2.
Wow. I don't. That's just, I don't know. That's a lot right there. And what'd you expect? What are your teammates going to do for your classroom? I don't understand that part. When I'm reading that one, I was like, yeah, it's a lot. Hint or fun fact, I should say. That's how you feel in year 1. You'll feel the year in 20 as well. So just deal with it and just learn how to manage it. What does you want from her teammates? Like, who's planning? Like, nobody's planning lessons for you.
Maybe this person had an experience. Again, I can't tell if this was somebody who is a first-year teacher, fresh out of student teaching, or if this is maybe a career change professional.
Yeah, that's what it sounds more like, you know?
Yeah. The kids give it away for me. Like, this person has their own children.
Yeah, right.
I mean, but even if you went alternate route, I mean, maybe not. You know, you're not going to student teach if you go alternate route. I don't know.
I'm not sure, but like in a situation like that, you got to have somebody.
Maybe they were hoping for some team planning or some cross curricular or working with a grade level.
I get that, but what's the expectation there? Because you're not, you can't just do everything with hope for somebody else. Even if you're there to collaborate with somebody, like, you still got to do the work.
Yeah. I think one of two things. Well, no, I can't narrow it down. Here are some things that could/should happen. Either this person has to change how they manage their time during the week because maybe they're feeling burnt out. They're investing all this time, and maybe this person needs to set some boundaries in terms of staying after school or when they're going to get their work done. And maybe this person needs to be more intentional about saying no to things.
Okay.
But again, a lot of that's going to come with more experience.
Yeah.
And then part of me says, maybe teaching's not for you. And then the third thing would be, maybe this isn't the school for you.
That's a very good possibility too.
And as I look through the comments, a lot of people are talking about Magic School AI is life changing. Start using AI to make your life easier.
There you go. No, but there's got to be a way the person could get support. You know, your team may not be good. That's fine. You get it. Like, you're coming into a situation where it sounds like other people are established and you're not established. So now you're struggling, hoping to rely on somebody else, but that's not what they've done for their career. So, you know, in a situation like this, you really got to find the other people who will support you, and whether it's a learning network where you can make connections, or you just got to go out there and find something yourself, or leave if that's what you want to go down to. Go.
Let me ask you this, AJ, and this is a new title you have on the show, as our resident principal.
Resident. Oh, okay, yeah, great.
Resident
Do I get paid
principal.
for that? No. Okay.
No, same budget, same pay.
Great. Got it.
Let's say you're in your school and a teacher, first year teacher, comes to you and says, "Hey, Mr. Bianco," and they express some of these feelings about their grade level team or their department, and they're looking to you for some advice or some suggestions, and they kind of dump this all on you.
I mean, you this person should probably go to their leader, right? Because what this person needs is a mentor of some sort. You know, it's got to be somebody that will be able to help them and that they can rely on. So obviously it's not their team. So me as principal would have to find somebody that I think would be able to work with this individual to help them grow and get the most out of their teaching. I think also it would be important to kind of sit down with the person and kind of go through their timing and their balance and figure out what they need exactly to help them succeed, you know, because a mentor would be good, but at the same point, like, just lay it out there. You know, what does your day look like? What are you doing? What are you planning? You know, like at this point of our careers, of the educational foundation, it's very difficult to have like a new lesson every single day, right?
Yeah.
I feel like if you're planning something, it needs to be longer than a day, because you got to get the students involved more. I don't see people teaching one area of content every single day of a school year.
Yeah. Some of these comments are funny.
Go ahead, give me.
Here we go. Hey, congratulations on becoming a teacher. Thanks for posting. This is unpopular advice as a former teacher who knows that teaching is my purpose. My first year teaching sounds like yours. I made it 6 weeks, then quit.
Okay.
They threatened to suspend my license. I didn't care. They didn't suspend my license. But the person says when they quit, they felt like a weight was lifted, and afterwards they got a special education endorsement, and then they spent 5 years working with students with behavioral problems for 5 years and loved it. And then really the piece I'm taking out of this is you're at the wrong school.
That's interesting.
And then on the other side, you got somebody saying, go download TPT lessons and use Canva. And
You're right there.
Yeah, well, TPT makes me in my mouth.
Oh yeah,
every
no,
time
that's not the way to go.
I'm just
that
waiting
is
for
not
AI
the
to
correct.
put TPT out of business.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Did I ever tell you that there was a time where we got reached out to by a PR person from Teachers Pay Teachers to have like their CEO, and they wanted to be a guest on our show?
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, I didn't pursue that at all.
Yeah, no,
because I couldn't justify the interview where I was just going to attack them.
Right. I think we actually didn't you say like you wrote back to them and like asked them if you could kind of bash them a little bit, and they said no.
I was very forthcoming in our at the time it was the three of us, you mean Stacy, where like we are not on that train at all.
Yeah, no.
We're like, this is what we're going to ask them about, and they're like, okay, no, we don't want to be on your show. Did we cover that one?
Which one? Oh yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. I don't know
Alrighty.
what else to do. You either get out of the career or find something that works for you.
All right, here we go. Here is the
Here we
I
go.
guess
Here we go. Here we go. Now.
the spotlight topic for this episode. Here we go. Do I send a follow-up email to a verbally abusive parent? Here we go.
Here we go.
I've been told to always respond to an email to an in-person conversation like, quote, last night we talked about some concerns with your child and I suggested a few things she could, wait, am I reading this right?
I gotta open it up.
I've been told to always respond to an email to an in-person conversation like, quote, last night we talked about some concerns with your child and I suggested a few things she could do at home. This is mainly to create a paper trail of verbal conversations. Gotcha. Okay. But does that work with an abusive parent? I had to cut a parent-teacher meeting short because a mother was yelling at me. Is there any reason to follow up with this parent? I think it would just make her even less rational. I did report the whole incident to admin along with documentation I'd kept of past behavior of the student and the parent. And this teacher, it looks like they might have put in the whole email, but I'm not
They
going to
put
read
the
all
whole
this.
email in here. Yes, with the student's name.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna share that.
No.
I'm not even gonna link. I'm not gonna link to this in our show
No,
notes.
I don't think it's necessary.
So, but the idea of being an educator and having a parent come at you, not it doesn't sound like physically, but free with the mouth and the words. It looks like. You ever experienced that?
Not the way this person is actually like showing it here. I mean, like that. It's really making it sound like this person just kind of went off the handle.
The
Like
teacher or the
nothing.
parent?
Oh, the parent. Excuse
Yeah. Okay. All right.
me. I don't remember ever having a parent like flip out like that. I've had parents who are upset for different things. But like nobody's ever like come at me where I needed to then like excuse them from the classroom, or I've had a parent hang up on the phone, like just hang up and then like call me back. Like, but like nothing like this. Like I've never experienced anything like that. I found that to be very rare, and something must have been off about the conversation to have a parent actually like do that.
Yeah.
Especially the teachers claiming the kid has all A's, but there were some behavioral issues.
Yeah.
I don't see why that would be a moment to attack. I don't know.
Yeah.
You?
It sounds like this teacher was, accused of lying by the parent and a lot of he said, she said kind of stuff. I mean, when I take pride in how I can connect with parents and families
Mm-hmm.
in that it's customer service,
Oh, there
right?
you go.
I'm the teacher who, you can come in for your parent teacher conference, let's say, and let's say the kid is with you and the kid is doing great. Those are the easy conferences to have, right? Just tell the parents how great the kid is. They feel good about their kid. Life goes on. But occasionally you get the conference where you've got the student who's not doing well, isn't doing their work, or isn't behaving. And I've had those conversations with parents with the kid there. And by the time those conversations are over, parents are good with me. And, they're looking at each other and like, it's like the child is apologizing to the parent and they're hugging it out and, off they go. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I come out free and clear.
Yeah.
I've only come across something like this once in my career where I was involved, and it wasn't even related to anything in the classroom. I was working in a middle school, and I was coaching, and I was the baseball coach, and I had to conduct tryouts, and conducted tryouts, cut kids, and built my team, and I was the the only coach for this middle school baseball team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And after about 2.5 weeks of practice and maybe the first game, we're at practice one day, and I finished with the kids and they all got picked up. So I was getting ready to, put the bucket in my car with the bag and the gear and everything.
All the stuff.
And this father shows up and wants to know why his son was cut and how great his son is. And this guy got in my face, like
Wow.
like he approached me and was like, he was asking to be knocked down.
Wow.
And he was saying things to me that nobody has ever said to me about me to my face.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And I obviously showed a great amount of professional and personal restraint,
Yep.
and, said this is not the time or the place, because he had a younger child with him.
Okay.
So it was just like, and from my perspective, just really embarrassing for this person. But, I basically got home and, I sent my principal an email and said, this is exactly what just happened. This is the parent. This is what I dealt with. And this was how I handled it in the moment. Just want to make sure you're aware in case a phone call is made that says anything to the contrary of what I just shared with you.
Wow.
I come into school the next day and he says, Chris, got the email, spoke to people. We spoke to this. You did nothing wrong. And in fact, he says, off the record, I don't know how you held such restraint based on what you shared.
That's crazy, man.
So, yeah, that's the
That's
closest I've
crazy.
ever come to anything like that.
Yeah.
And that could have been much worse.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't anything like that. No. No. I mean, I've had unreasonable parents who wouldn't back down, but never like loud and getting in my face about anything.
I think some advice I would like to put out based on this is this shows the importance. Well, one, I mean, if a parent is kind of got a screw loose, let's say, and I want to be nice about it, there's certain things you can't help and are beyond your control. But what is in your control is, say, here at the start of the school year, is to make sure you have started to, or you're consistently working at building relationships and communicating with the families of your students. So that way, nothing comes as a surprise to families, good or bad. Be calling home, be sending emails, or sending those text messages if you've got some sort of electronic communication set up. What are your thoughts on constant communication and just trying to blaze positiveness?
So I think it's really important for communication. I know it's a pain and it's a burden for all of us, but I think, how long have we been saying this, Chris, now, right? That if we're not telling the story, somebody else is. Like, we have it all at our fingertips to make it very simple. Telling the story about what's going on in your classroom and keeping parents in the know. Now, I know there's two different thoughts about this, right? Because when you think about like communication, when it comes in terms of like grading, our systems are in place that you can definitely have them updated right away, and that's the communication that I update my gradebook regularly. You can check that. That's the communication. But I think it's also important that the parents know that you're an actual person, and that if something's going on, it's not just here's the grade. It's more of like, I've noticed something's happening in your child. So I think communication is extremely important, because we're not in this job to give kids grades. We're in this job to help kids grow, and grades are just part of that. It's the evaluative part. It's the judgment of the kids. So it's incredibly important to be open, honest. I was never really outstanding with that, but I would always make sure I communicated in some way, whether that was, a quick email or, a check-in, whatever that was. I'd find a way. But I think now, especially in the role that I'm in, is really important for like newsletters to go out and e-blasts to happen. I think it's really important. I think our social media has to be on point to make sure that we're telling the story of the school so the parents see what's happening, because it's very easy for our kids to go home and just remember one part of a day that was extremely negative and the four other things that happened that were like great moments.
So I love that. So now that you are the principal, is there a preferred form of communication that you feel most comfortable using to communicate with your school's families now that you're kind of getting into this?
Like for me personally,
Yeah. What do you like, or what are you gonna leverage the most?
I'm trying to figure that out. Like I've been going back and forth with trying to like create like a weekly or bi-weekly newsletter. So with that, like my mind was going to s'more, and
Okay.
setting that up and doing that, or just keeping it simple and send like a one pager with links, through like a Google slide that I can download as a PDF. I don't know. I want it to be fancy, but at the same point, if I'm linking things to our social media, that's super fancy. We have somebody who's running the Instagram page and doing a great job of it. But I'm gonna look towards, e-blasting out either a s'more or a PDF. I don't know. I'm sure there's so many other ways to do it, but
What about
that's
a
where my mind is.
fireside chat with Mr. Bianco?
How about how about how about that? I think I might be tasked with creating a podcast for the school. So let's go one thing at a time.
Hey, you know a guy who could support you.
I do, and I will speak to that guy that I know.
Excellent. That'll be cool.
It'll be exciting. Yeah, without a doubt.
Nice. What's your school mascot?
The Panthers.
My fellow Pantherians.
Oh, is that a thing?
Just sounds good.
It does sound good. Panthera.
Pantera? You could be Panthro.
There you go. Maybe that's how we'll do it.
There you go. All right. Before we hit our last topic, want to remind you that if you are interested in becoming an executive producer of Podcast PD, you can do that. And if you're getting value over conversations and banter like this, you can become an executive producer. You can give $10 a month or $100 per year, and that can help us continue to bring you insightful and engaging conversations and topics. As a thank you, all executive producers will receive an exclusive Podcast PD executive producer sticker. And if you support us for a year, we will send you the sticker, a mug, a t-shirt, and a Podcast PD hat. All you need to do is visit podcastpd.com/executive producer, and you can become an executive producer as soon as you are done listening to this. Click the link in the show notes. And thank you to our current executive producers, Holly Landez and the incomparable Stephanie Scrocky.
Ow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Our last topic, and then definitely have a podcast recommendation for you.
Oh, thank goodness.
All right. Headline: Perfectionist children. How do you deal with children who are perfectionists in your day-to-day teaching? Certain children are exceptionally behaved and mature and does the work. But some children are so hard on themselves if they don't get an A. These children consistently make honor roll and are quiet and composed. Do you acknowledge it as an educator? What happens to these students as they progress through school? Can I jump right on this?
Yeah, go ahead. This was one that when I saw it, that there's something that has grabbed my attention lately, but I don't have an answer, so I'd love to hear you.
Here's my thoughts. Parents, stop putting pressure for your kids to get grades, because I believe that that's where it starts. Some children are intrinsically motivated and they come up with that themselves, where they've got to get an A. But in my experience, they're not getting that A really for them. They're trying to keep somebody else happy.
Yeah.
And typically that's mom and dad.
Yeah.
By the time they get to me at Rutgers and they live and die by the first letter of the alphabet, I make jokes like, Did you know there's a second letter of the alphabet? Did you know there's a third letter of the alphabet? Right? It's called a C.
I'm used
The,
to that one.
the
Sorry.
grades don't mean anything. Grades mean nothing. Focus on learning, focus on growing, and your grades will take care of themselves. That's what I tell my students. If you're the kind of kid who, I got to get an A, I got to get an A, then you're in school for the wrong reasons. Focus on developing and growing as a person. And if you're doing the work and you're doing it to the best of your ability, your grades will be fine.
You know, in?
Jump in.
I agree with you. You know, and it's something that, like, I tell the little people upstairs, you know, I don't care about the grades you get. I care about your success. I care about how you're learning. I care about those things. And that's us, right? But there's a lot of other people out there who have been so used to, you know, the grade being the identifier. You know,
And that's a shame.
And like, how do we argue that? And again, this is like a conversation we had back in the day when we have Dave Frangiosa on here talking about standards-based grading. And it goes back to the fact that how do we argue that grades aren't important when, you know, now everything we do, you want to be in a successful class, you want to move up in math, you want this opportunity. How's your NJSLA score? You know, what'd you get last marking period? What's your teacher recommendation? How are you as a student? You know,
No,
how
you know
hard
what?
are you
That doesn't
working?
have to be the case, though, because I'm sure we can both name tens of districts where if the parents yell loud enough, your kid can be an AP student. Your kid can be in an
Right.
honors class.
Without a
So,
doubt. I've had plenty of situations where kids were waved into a higher class just because the parent got loud. But at the same point, like, why are they getting loud? Because if you put them on that path, that's the only path for them to go to succeed. Because if they don't do X, they can't go higher, right? And if they don't do X, and they're going to stay on that straight path and just kind of coast through middle school, high school, and get to the you know, graduation, and they're going to miss out on their experience, whatever it is. Like, we've all been told the wrong thing for so long. So I can't blame it on parents who are looking at that as like the grade is what's going to get them to where they want to be. Because look, Stanford wasn't coming for me. You know, no matter how many things I did outside of the classroom, or, you know, with the soup kitchens I worked for, the sports I played, the clubs that I did, they weren't coming for me because my grades were not where they wanted their student to be. You know, and that was based on grades. That's based on my SAT score being what it was. So, like, I think our kids are put in a situation where they're forced to succeed so quickly so they can get to the top of the mountain real quick and just stay there, you know? And like, I remember if I didn't do well on a quiz or a test and I brought it home, I was like, oh my God, my parents are gonna be so unhappy with me. But that was never the case. That was never
I
the case. Like,
let
they
me.
didn't care what grade I got as long as I was learning.
And I'm going to guess that your parents, like mine, and a lot of other parents, if I got a C, but my parents knew that I studied and worked and tried,
Yep.
that's a lot different than if they saw me goofing off, playing video games, not putting in the work, and getting that grade
Right.
or earning that grade.
Right.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, that was the only thing that was ever asked of me. Is your work getting in the way? Is sports getting in your way? Because I was never a video game guy. I was never,
Yeah.
you know, it was regimented into me that when you got home from school, you have your snack, you watch a show, you want to go outside and shoot the baskets, go shoot baskets, but then you come back and do your homework the rest of the night.
Yeah.
So whatever I put off, I had to go do. And that was instilled in me from like elementary school. It's much harder with little people out at home. They're exhausted when they get home. I don't know what the difference is. I really don't. I don't know if it's the different demands of the curriculum and the different demands of the teachers, but you know it too, Chris. You got little people. It's
Yes.
harder when they come home. Like when you say, "Why don't you go get your homework started?" It's no, I don't want to do homework. Homework sucks. It's this. Like, yeah, I know, but you got to do it.
Yeah.
But again,
And
that's
stuff.
why I got into this profession, because I didn't want to do the same thing that was done to me in my elementary, middle school, high school career.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm on the no homework train. Like, I
Yeah.
don't give homework. I don't give formal
Right.
homework, right? But
Right.
if you don't perform in class, we got deadlines. So maybe you got to do some stuff at home. But I tell my own little people, work hard. I don't care what grade you get. If you get A's and B, that's fine because I know you're going to work for them. But if you're working hard and the best you do is a C on something or a B, just work hard. Have good
Yeah.
work ethic and be proud of the work you do.
Right.
And if you can put your head on your pillow at night and you're proud of your effort,
Yep.
that's good.
That's it.
And if there's room to grow, then take that opportunity.
And I hope
Somebody
that's
says
the
here in the
message.
comment,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, they say, I tell my students, it's just a piece of paper. What are you worried about if you make a mistake? Mistakes are how we learn. I expect you to make mistakes.
That second part I agree with. Yes. That's what we can't tell kids like, oh, it's just this, because you don't know what's being said at home. You don't know, are they competing with an older sibling, younger sibling? Like that's the hard part for me. When it comes to grades, like you don't know the message coming from the other place. But I agree the second part is, look, straight up. I told my staff during our first days, I'm gonna make mistakes. And I was like, don't sugarcoat it. Tell me what I'm doing wrong, because I need to make the mistakes in order to figure out, the way it's going to work going forward. So let's all make mistakes, but let's all make mistakes correctly so that we don't do it again. Like there's only so many times you can tell a student, you made a mistake, but like, let's just keep making the same mistakes over and over again.
The hell?
I don't know. What's that about?
No, I clicked a link and it didn't link the way I wanted it to link.
That's all right.
Nope, that's not the one. We'll just go to this website. Okay. No, I just wanted to set up my my recommendation.
Let's go. Let's hit up the recommendation, because I don't want to get on the soapbox about grades. That's a different episode.
All right. So here is my podcast recommendation. I forget what I was listening to that exposed
You
me
didn't
to
do the
this.
music.
Oh, I
What
didn't. Oh,
happened?
sorry. Oh,
You
okay.
didn't do the
All right,
music.
hold on.
Come
All
on,
right,
man.
shout out.
What are you, professional?
All right. So you're paying the ass about the music, which means you also don't listen to our show because the music I play here on the live stream doesn't go into the podcast when I release it. So thank you for that. Anyway, here is here's my recommendation. The title of this podcast is Empire City, The Untold Origin of the NYPD. This is really good.
Okay.
It is 9 episodes. Okay. It's through Wondery. That's the podcast company that's producing it. So there are only 4 episodes publicly available. And if you're on Wondery Plus, you can get access to these other episodes much quicker. So here's the description. The police tell us they are here to protect us. But what if their original purpose was something else altogether? Peabody Award-winning host Chenjari Kumanyika takes listeners on a journey to uncover the hidden history of the largest police force in the world, from its roots in slavery to rival police gangs battling across New York City to everyday people who resisted. Every step of the way. As our society debates where policing is going, Empire City explores where the police came from. So, as a history enjoyer, I'm really enjoying it. I binged the first 4 episodes that are available last week on my commute to school each morning, and it's interesting. It's just really interesting. So if you're into history content, if you're into law enforcement, or you know somebody who teaches anything related to law enforcement, this is interesting. Empire City, The Untold Origin of the NYPD, and the episodes are about anywhere between 40 and 50 minutes.
Yeah, they are. I'm looking at it now. That's interesting. That's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how you find these things.
I forget what I was listening to.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah, I don't remember. It was something else I listened to. You know, it might have been Through Line.
Huh.
Oh wait, no.
Okay.
You know what it was? I
No,
apologize.
I don't.
I was listening to Pod Save America.
Oh, those guys.
So they had this guy on to kind
Hmm.
of give a little preview about the podcast,
Yep.
and I was like, you know what? Let me go check this out. So that's how I found it. There will be a
Cool.
link in the show notes. You got anything?
I like it. I got to be honest. I haven't been listening to very many podcasts.
All right.
I
Thanks for
just
coming, everybody.
I just got into this new one. I'm on like the first episode of this new podcast called Perpetual Syndication. Um,
Okay. Go ahead.
I was listening to that the other day.
Really?
I was.
Thank you.
It's right there. There it is. I was listening to it. I got halfway through and then I had to stop.
So do you want to talk about it or you want me to talk about it? All right. So I will talk about it, AJ. So Perpetual Syndication is a podcast that I'm doing with my wife, Caitlin, and it is the ultimate TV rewatch podcast. And we are going to watch entire series that we have enjoyed either together or in our lives. And after we finish one series, we're going to go do a whole other series. But from now through 2028, we are going to be watching and podcasting about home improvement. So we launched that podcast at the beginning of September. And if you've seen Home Improvement, you can check it out. It's at perpetualsyndication.tv. And really, I've got to say, go follow us on Instagram at Perpetual Syndication,
Oh yeah.
where we've
Oh
been
yeah.
we've been playing dress up and posing. Kate's
Goofy.
having a lot of fun
Goofy.
with the Instagram stuff. Here. I'm
Yeah,
having
you
fun
guys
too.
are. Yeah, you guys are. Good.
Yes.
Yeah, I started listening to the first episode. I like Home Improvement. I thought it was a good one. Are you guys trying to make this the longest running podcast in the world? Is that the goal?
Well, there's no end. Like if we were just doing a Home Improvement rewatch podcast, we
Right.
would finish Home Improvement and we'd be done with the show. But when we're done
So
with Home
are you
Improvement,
doing are you doing like are you guys watching a show a week? Are you watching it together or watching it separately?
we watch it together.
I would love to hear like if you watch it separately, the different thoughts you'd have as you're watching it.
I mean, we're not talking about it. We watch it and then we come right
Okay.
up here into the studio and we talk about it.
That's cool.
I mean, she takes notes. I just watch TV. What do we do? Like she is copious. She
Right.
is taking extensive notes on these episodes.
At minute
Um,
12, at minute 12, Tim said this,
Yeah,
and Brad
mean,
did
they're-
not agree with his father. Sorry.
but yeah. So I mean, we're having fun with that, and you know, some people say that podcasting will break up a marriage. It has certainly been the opposite. We're enjoying time watching TV. We
I
enjoy
love it.
sitting up here and recording. And I want to thank you for checking it out. I appreciate that.
No, man, I told you when we talked about it the first time, I told you I would. But I'm happy you guys are doing it. I think you guys really, honestly, it was basically the Instagram page that was that got me.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. I was like, I had to see what they're talking about.
But you know what? Like we say in the show, we are at the age that Tim and Jill are in the show as parents. So
Mm.
we have a completely different outlook on the content and the topic and the humor. And, you know, we certainly interject, you know, our own life into it. And it's funny how life imitates art even 30 years later.
There you go. Hey, I'll give a shout out to a new podcast I'm going to try. I have not listened to this yet, but came across my feed, so I'm going to give it a whirl, and we'll give it a shot here. All right, it's called the Elemental Educator Podcast. Right, and it explores the alchemy of education, leadership, and pedagogy, challenging the status quo of leadership norms while redefining learning. So I'm curious about it because their Instagram page is kind of what got me. So I'm checking it out, and it's hosted by Tyler, and Tyler I believe is a principal because he reached out to me after I followed him on Instagram. I followed the podcast. So
Yeah.
we're gonna see where this goes. I think you can check him out on Instagram at Elemental Educator. Hold on, let me get that for sure. Give me
And
3.5
there will be a link
seconds.
to all of this. You know, you're
Yep.
listening on the podcast side. We'll have it They're a swipe or a tap away, or if you go out to podcastpd.com/144, I recognize the logo. So
Yeah. Yeah.
they follow House of Ed Tech on Instagram.
Yeah. It's elemental_educator on the Instagram.
Yeah, and their website that I got to is elementaleducator.podbean.com, which is their media host. So they've got,
Yes.
looks like 31 episodes available. So there's some content there. They've got some great looking guests. Looks like they've got some good conversations happening.
Yep. You can also check them out at elementaleducator.com, and it goes into detail about on their website about what the podcast is in reference to, because it talks about the elements of earth, air, water, fire, and in my mind, heart, because all I can think about is Captain Planet.
Captain Planet.
Sorry.
No, there's some good stuff here.
I'm still stuck in the 90s, everybody. If nobody knew that about me, I'm still stuck in the 90s.
Maybe we'll have to reach out to Tyler and get him on here, and maybe we can get onto that show. Do a little crossover action. Might even be possible that maybe he's a potential member of the Education Podcast Network. So we'll see. We'll have to reach out to Tyler. Thanks for sharing that, AJ. Really appreciate it. All right, AJ is having mic problems. We've been on for over an hour, so we are going to wave goodbye and say goodbye. Thank you for watching here on YouTube. We do the show the last Sunday of the month live streamed for you, and then it comes your way as a podcast. So if you've only seen this on YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook, make sure you go to podcastpd.com/go and follow us where you listen to podcasts and make us a part of your anytime, anywhere professional development. AJ, it sounds like your mic came on, so say goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We will see you in October. I think we're booking a guest for October, so I want to make the promise, but I'm not going to do it out loud because we're still working on some things. But we'll see you in October.
There you go. Bye, everybody.